Perhaps you're feeling lost, alone and confused. Well, then you might be in a spiritual initiation. We're going to talk about 6 deep truths that you might be wanting to know if you're midway through one of these spiritual initiations. So, furthering on from the video I made the other day, where we talk about 7 signs that you might be experiencing a spiritual initiation, my feeling was to go a little bit deeper into some things that you might experience in your spiritual initiation, so that you're able to perhaps survey the landscape in a bit of a better way. So we're going to talk about those. So the first deep truth that you're probably recognizing already is that a spiritual initiation is very hard fought. This is no easy task. We are fighting, really, truly, on one level, we are fighting for our release from the bondage that's holding us into this initiation. We always learn from these initiations, that is guaranteed. And the thing that we're learning, we perhaps are not quite clear on yet. And so we have to kind of fight our way through the trees a little bit, almost like being stuck in a forest that's completely pitch black. You know, everywhere you walk there could be some fog in front of the path that can make it difficult to see, and there might be a tree that we bump into along the road. And so this is to be expected in one of these experiences. Number 2, some good news is that they do end. These spiritual initiations have a timeline. Now we can speed that timeline up by doing our sadhana, and we know, of course, on this channel that down below you can access some free sadhana. There's a free breathing practice down below which is sure to awaken some excitement in the system. There's some free yoga down below as well. There's also a free community on either Facebook or Discord for those that aren't on Facebook, and also there is a form that you can fill in to apply to work with me one-to-one. The application itself is free, but the coaching isn't. Back to that point though, they do end, but there's a small caveat about that I'm actually going to bring in at the end of the video, because there's something that we have to do for these things to end. We really have to be a willing participant in this, and we'll talk about that at the end of the video. Number 3, you will truly have to muster everything that you've got for this to come to an end. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not wanting an end to come faster than is ready for us, because we don't want to wish our life away, and each moment is sacred. Each initiation in itself is sacred, although we don't feel like it at the time. Sometimes I look back at some of my initiations and go, I really could have enjoyed that a bit more, because I'm never going to get that time back, at least not in this expression of me. Can't go back in time? Well, not yet. Fingers crossed one day, hey, that could be fun. But we really have to put some elbow grease in. We have to do the work, isn't it, in order to decipher and understand what the relevance of this specific initiation is for me. For example, my last one was about learning deep compassion. Now, compassion is not something you can fake, and if you do try and fake it, it will reek of inauthenticity, and the spiritual ego loves to do that. It loves to pretend to be compassionate, but real compassion comes through experience. Real compassion comes through a very mature nervous system that's matured over time through the initiation process. It's hard fought, it's hard won, our compassion, and also though it then turns into our biggest gift. Nothing untoward is happening here, nothing bad is happening, although it might feel like it, and it can be very uncomfortable in these experiences. It's happening for us, not to us. And as we come out the other side of the initiation, we'll see that very clearly, and that will feel wonderful. There's nothing quite like a beautiful moment of wonderful clarity, because then you feel invincible. You've gone from powerlessness to completely empowered in almost what can seem a split second or overnight. Sorry, my alarm went off there and ruined the sound quality of the video. Number 4, God is patient, but we must be discerning. Now, in a spiritual initiation, the ego tends to come up in full force and is bringing up lots of past wounds, past trauma, and is introducing you to people that highlight these things in you. So it can be a very almost toxic moment inside of ourselves. And God is patient, God is merciful, or life or spirit is merciful, and it knows our struggles in a sense. And so it doesn't necessarily put a timeline on us to be able to come out the other end of it by a certain date or else. It's more kind of the idea that, yeah, there might be a divine timing in this, but we must be discerning. We must be able to discern between the ego and self in this moment. We have to be able to discern whether this emotion or this belief or this idea or concept inside of myself is really where I should be putting my attention and acting upon, or is it in fact something that might damage me? And of course, fail big, of course, why not? I've done it many a time, and we will fail lots, and that's okay that we do. Like I said, God is patient and merciful. Life is merciful too. They're not separate, God and life, not in my view anyway. But we must discern. 5, you will survive. And you will be much, much stronger for it. Like I said in my initiation that I've just come out of, what I was being taught was deep compassion. And therefore that makes me a stronger, I use this word loosely, teacher on this path, because compassion isn't a teaching. It's something that has to come authentically from within, but we learn that, we access that depth inside of ourselves through experience, and then being able to relate that experience that you've just gone through to somebody else, and then we can often lend a helping hand, or we can at least resonate with the person and understand firsthand what it is that they're going through. And so you'll definitely be stronger, and you'll be richer for it, and potentially monetarily too. Not that that's the goal, but the more experience you go through, the harder life you go through, the more people you can resonate with, and the more directly you can resonate with them, because you've just been through that experience that they're going through, and therefore you'll be richer, stronger, and happier. And so they are really well worth it. Finally then, that little caveat that I talked about in point 2, they do end, and they do end, don't get me wrong, but there is something that we have to do, and this is number 6. You must increase your prana for that next level manifestation of yourself. So what's prana? Prana means energy, life force, breath. And so we must, and it's our original state. We are energy beings, in a sense. We are that primordial essence before we are the mind. The mind comes out of that essence that we are. The mind is secondary, as are emotions. And therefore the ego is also secondary and subject to death, much like the body. But there's something inside of ourselves that preceded this physical life and will exceed this physical life too. And it's from here, the root of who we are, that we can seriously begin to change ourselves. And it's this that we have to get in contact with consistently, so that we can allow that next big manifestation for ourselves. Really, this is happening for you so that you can level up. We all want to level up. We all want to be happier, healthier, richer, more loving, more kind. And this is exactly what's happening to you. You're getting your wish, but on the surface, it doesn't look like it. And so you must do your pranic work. And this is, anything in this life worthwhile is hard. It doesn't have to be hard. Don't be scared of that word, but it is hard. To do it right is to do it the hard way. because then we really breed good foundations inside of ourselves for the future. If I'm willing to do the hard, dirty, nasty work, or whatever we want to call it, maybe we shouldn't put such heavy words on it because it might scare people, but if we're willing to do the tough stuff, put a bit of elbow grease in and earn our well-being and earn our way through this world, then this is the real way to do it. This is the true way for the cleanest manifestation possible. But increase our prana we must. And as we increase our prana by doing our sadhana, your daily spiritual practice, we will in time pull ourselves out of this experience, this initiation. And by God, won't we be proud of ourselves in a true way? Something that we really can be proud of without it being egoic. And this is the way, isn't it? Cool. Finally, I just wrote a little note at the end of this. You've got this. And I believe in you. And sometimes I say that, and you might look at that and go, yeah, but you don't know me. But the thing is, I do, in a sense, because I am you. We are all this. We're all one in that sense. And therefore, if I can do it, some crazy idiot from England, then anybody can. I'm not special. It's not my feeling that you have to be specially gifted for any of this stuff, but you do have to put the work in. And so long as you put the work in and stay authentically committed to this path, anything you want can be yours. I hope this video helps. This will probably be my last video on spiritual initiations, but I hope that it helped, and namaste.